Dengan YouTube Music, anda boleh mainkan lagu kegemaran pada latar sambil mengemas bahagian latar depan. Cuba sebulan percuma.
E te iwi e te hunga whakarongo nau mai hoki mai ki tō reo irirangi Māori. He waiatahau kei taku ringa ko te waiatahau nei o ka lega na Rob Ruha. Nā mātou te maringa nui te whakapāho tuatahi tēnei waiata ki a koutou. Nā reira, are taringa mai, anea Rob e hoki atu ana ki te hau kāinga, ki te pūtake o te ao, ki te tai rāwhiti. Whakarongo mai.
Kei te whito o hirikapo, e tā kirikiri ana. I te koingo, i te awhito, i te awanawana. Pera ia, hina, e tau kume ana. I te moana, ko koe ki taku wanawa, taku hina, ka mōrea. Slip inside the eye of your mind. Don't you know you might find a better place to play? You said that you've never been, but all the things that you've seen slowly fade away. So I start a revolution from my bed. 'Cause you said the brains I had went to my head. special people change? How many lives are living strange? Where were you while we were getting high? Slowly walking down the hall.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, selamat petang, salam Malaysia Madani. Terlebih dahulu, saya bagi pihak majlis ingin mengalu-alukan kedatangan tuan-tuan dan puan-puan dimulai dengan kehadiran Tuan Pengarah Kolej Profesional Mara Seri Iskandar Encik Ismail Fahmi bin Ismail yang sudi meluangkan masa hadir untuk sesi kita pada petang ini. Tak lupa juga saya mengalu-alukan kedatangan Timbalan-Timbalan Pengarah, Timbalan Pengarah Hal Ehwal Pelajar Tuan Haji Zamri, Timbalan Pengarah Hal Ehwal Akademik Encik Ihsan, Timbalan Pengarah Khidmat Pengurusan Encik Saiful Hasni, ketua-ketua jabatan, para pensyarah, para pelajar yang pada petang ini bukan sahaja dihadiri oleh pelajar-pelajar daripada KPM Seri Iskandar, tapi kita mempunyai tetamu yang kita datangkan khas daripada Ipoh Perak. So saya mulakan dulu. Kita nak mempersilakan kedatangan 100 orang pelajar KPM Seri Iskandar, di mana pelajar-pelajar ini adalah pelajar-pelajar yang terpilih, yang kita pilih berdasarkan pencapaian akademik yang mendapat CGPA 3.80. So berikan tepukan untuk 103 orang pelajar-pelajar KPM Seri Iskandar yang terpilih untuk menghadiri sesi kita pada petang ini. Dan kita ada tetamu khas yang kita datangkan terbang jauh jauh daripada Ipoh Perak. Kita nak mengalu-alukan kedatangan 35 orang pelajar daripada Kolej Politek Mara Ipoh. Boleh lambai sikit tak? KPTM Ipoh. Okay, ada di belakang sana ya. Dan diiringi juga oleh 5 orang pegawai ataupun saya kira pensyarah pengiring daripada KPTM Ipoh. Selamat datang kami ucapkan. Dan tak lupa juga ya, sesi kita pada petang ini kita bawakan secara langsung live di YouTube KPM Seri Iskandar Official. Dan bersama dengan kita pada ketika ini kita ada 17 orang pelajar semester 3 program Diploma in Business Studies daripada KPM Beranang. So saya rasa mungkin mereka telah bersedia di laptop masing-masing untuk mengikuti program kita pada petang ini. Dan di samping itu juga kita meraihkan kedatangan tetamu kita iaitu Puan Hairani Radi daripada NAS Education Kuala Lumpur. Selamat datang. Dan tak lengkap kalau saya tak memperkenalkan orangnya ataupun tetamu yang kita tunggu-tunggu selama ini tetamu yang kita raihkan, tetamu yang akan bersama dengan kita selama 2 jam untuk berkongsi, untuk mengupas, untuk bercerita untuk memberikan informasi tentang peluang melanjutkan pelajaran ke salah sebuah institusi terkenal di New Zealand, the University of Canterbury, Christchurch, New Zealand. So kita mempersilakan kehadiran tetamu kita yang berbahagia, Cik Siti Karina daripada University of Canterbury. Selamat datang Karina.
Thank you.
Apa khabar?
Baik,
Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri.
Selamat Hari Raya.
Kita wish selamat Hari Raya sebab kita masih lagi dalam bulan Syawal, masih lagi dalam mood beraya kan. Okey. Jadi saya tak nak berceloteh banyak sebab saya rasa mungkin ramai di kalangan penonton kita, audience kita yang tak sabar nak tahu sebenarnya apa yang best ni study dekat University of Canterbury ni. Macam mana nak ke sana? Apakah kelayakan ataupun kriteria yang kita perlu ada? Dan saya juga nak mengalu-alukan sebenarnya dalam sesi live kita ni kita ada jemput ibu bapa daripada pelajar untuk hadir dan bersama-sama join kita sesi live. So kami mengalu-alukan jika ada di kalangan ibu bapa pelajar yang ada bersama kita. Jadi sekiranya contohnya kalau di kalangan ibu bapa kalau ada soalan-soalan yang nak diutarakan, kita akan membuka sesi soal jawab sekitar jam 4 petang nanti. So kalau ada soalan daripada penonton yang menonton secara live, so anda boleh berikan komen dan juga soalan, dan insyaAllah AJK kami akan memaparkan soalan anda dan kita akan mengutarakan soalan kepada Cik Karina kita. Dan begitu juga kepada audiens kita yang ada di dalam Dewan Kuliah, anda juga kita open kita buka untuk bertanyakan soalan. So kita disediakan mikrofon di atas sana. So bila kita open untuk sesi soal jawab, so bolehlah hadir ke tengah sana dan utarakan soalan anda Kita buka kepada pelajar boleh, kepada pensyarah boleh, kepada sesiapa saja. Dan untuk sesi kita pada petang ini kita akan menggunakan kita kata dua bahasa boleh bahasa Melayu dan juga bahasa Inggeris kan. Maklumlah kita semua ni nak pergi overseas, betul tak pelajar? Macam lemah macam ni, kenyang sangat, makan banyak sangat rendang ketupat lemang raya agaknya Anda semua nak pergi overseas tak? Nak pergi University of Canterbury tak? Semua orang nak pergi. Sebab Miss S ni tak pernah pergi, you all. Excited sangat nak pergi. Walaupun mungkin tak berkesempatan nak pergi, tapi petang ni kita imagine lah seolah-olah kita terbang bersama-sama Cik Karina kita. Terbang ke University of Canterbury di Christchurch, New Zealand. Okay, so sekarang saya tak nak cakap banyak. Kita nak menyerahkan majlis kepada tetamu kita iaitu Cik Siti Karina yang diterbangkan khas daripada New Zealand yang akan berkongsi dengan kita pada petang ini, yang akan memberikan kita informasi dan mudah-mudahan pelajar-pelajar semua especially akan mendapat manfaat dan juga mendapat gambaran awal tentang macam mana cara kita boleh menyambung pengajian kita ke the University of Canterbury. Okay, so saya nak serahkan majlis kepada Cik Karina. So silakan berikan tepukan gemuruh terlebih dahulu kepada tetamu kita Cik Siti Karina. All the way to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat Hari Raya everyone. I feel like I see familiar faces from last year here. So I'm pretty sure you kind of know about New Zealand or UC. So before I started, I'm just gonna basically talk a little bit about my background. So my full name is Siti Karina, but you can call me Karina. I'm originally from Jakarta, from Indonesia. So kalau you guys nak tanya pakai bahasa Melayu pun, I faham je sikit-sikit. And then I've been living in New Zealand for about 7 years now. So I studied at UC myself in Bachelor of Commerce. Majoring in marketing and operation supply chain management. So I already been through the experience as an international student at UC, and later on I'm gonna share a little bit about why I chose New Zealand, why I chose UC, and how my experience there. Before this, I actually want to show a video of one of our graduates, Safia, so you can see a little bit how New Zealand look like.
Rasa sakit dekat.
Hi, I'm Safia. I'm from Malaysia. I'm studying Bachelor of Commerce, majoring in International Business and Operation and Supply Chain Management. The reason why I choose New Zealand is because the people here are open-minded towards religion and diverse cultures. As a hijabi, I feel accepted and welcomed by the community, and that makes me love New Zealand even more. I honestly chose UC because of UCNZ.life Instagram. I found UC to be one of the most attractive places to study because the Instagram post shows the message of practicing diversity, which led me to further my studies here. What I like about this BCom program at UC is that I can take a double major without requiring extra cost and time. So I get to learn more aspects of business, which also widens my options for my career path. The most thing I like about UC is that all lectures are recorded. I can re-watch the lectures if I missed out anything from the physical lectures. And I love how the UC buildings are all close together. It saves a lot of time between classes. I choose to cycle to uni because it keeps me fit and it's easy to commute to UC. There's great bike access around uni and the city. The academic staff at UC are friendly and super approachable. At UC, I feel welcome and comfortable. Every Wednesday, I play badminton with my friends. It's a great way to stay fit and meet new people. During the semester breaks, I go traveling with my friends to go sightseeing and explore new areas. The sceneries here in New Zealand are incredibly beautiful and mesmerizing. What I like most about New Zealand is that the people here are genuinely kind. The Malaysian community within UC is very close. It feels like home away from home.
All right, so that's kind of a glimpse of New Zealand, Christchurch or UC itself. So I think I want to ask first, does anyone know where UC is located, whether it's in North or South Island? South, okay, good. And Is New Zealand part of Australia? No, thank you. A lot of students ask me, like especially in Indonesia, when I go to an education fair and I ask, "Oh, do you know where New Zealand is?" "Yeah, it's part of Europe, right?" And I'm like, "Oh, no." Or like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, it's in Australia." No. So Australia itself, New Zealand itself, they're separate, they're different country. But thank you for knowing about that. UC itself located in Christchurch. So Christchurch is quite in the middle of the South Island. So you kind of get an easy access to travel around the island. And UC itself, the location is quite strategic because it's around 10 minutes drive to the airport, or 15 minutes by bus to the city center, or usually during the winter time, students will go for skiing or snowboarding, and it's around 1 hour from the campus to the mountain. Sorry. Okay. So this is roughly how Christchurch look like. As you can see, there are some cities, but there's also mountains at the back. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. Because I personally from Jakarta, and it's a very crowded city, as you know, macet is everywhere. So when I try to find a place to study, I want to go to a place that a bit different. But at the same time, they still have the city life, so at least I can still shopping. And also I want to go somewhere that not too distracting when I'm studying, because I think you kind of need to know what kind of person you are, because I know if there's too many distraction, I'm probably not gonna study. I'm probably just gonna lepak with my friends, shopping all the time. So I try to find a city that have the balance. And this is how the city center look like. As you can see, there's a mixture of nature and also the buildings. And if we compare New Zealand with other English-speaking countries like UK, Australia, US, Canada, New Zealand is actually one of the most affordable countries to live in, especially for international students. And if you compare the big cities in New Zealand, which is Auckland, Wellington, and Christchurch, Christchurch is the most affordable city. So in 2024 is actually we got awarded as most affordable student city. The reason is because I think in 2011 there was like an earthquake in Christchurch, and then the Christchurch City Council basically built a lot of new buildings and new houses. So most of the houses that we got are pretty much brand new. And for example, like in Auckland, the accommodation is around like 230 New Zealand dollars per week, which is around, I think it's like 700 ringgit per week. And usually for an accommodation like that, you need to share a room with your friend. But in Christchurch, if you pay that much, you can get like a semi-studio room. So that's kind of the difference. That's why in Christchurch, it's possible to get a room for like 130 or 150 New Zealand dollars per week. And overall, the living cost is 15% cheaper than Auckland, which is the biggest city in New Zealand. And also, I think, like I mentioned, there's not too many distractions in Christchurch. Like, for example, if during the weekend, I usually went for a picnic or a hiking or a kayaking, which doesn't really require any money. In fact, I save more money in New Zealand than in Jakarta, because I think when I don't know about you guys, but even when I'm in Malaysia, I always lepak at cafe or at the mall with my friends. So I ended up spending all my money there. But in New Zealand, I always do the outdoor stuff, so I just save my money. So that's one of the good things about living in New Zealand. And also, I feel safe there because Christchurch is a very community-based city. It's really important to have your community, your bubble. It can be, I mean, everywhere you go overseas, it can be homesick and it can feel quite lonely, which is why we always make sure that all international students who come to UC, especially to the business school, have their own community in the first day. So usually in the first 2 weeks of the semester, you're gonna have a lot of events. You probably get sick of our faces because you're gonna see us a lot. But the reason is because we want you to have your group of friends. So then you have a friends to study with, you have friends to hang out with, and we don't want you to just stick with the people from your own country. We try to mix you guys around so you know you have more network outside the Malaysian community. Okay, so now I'm gonna share a little bit about my journey from Jakarta to Christchurch. So I went to New Zealand for the first time in 2017. I went there all by myself, so I don't have like a friend, like, you know, in here, oh, I have my KPM friends or like KYS friends, but no, I literally alone. So I decided to stay at a homestay with the host parents. The reason is because I want to have that like local people that I know, and also back then English I teruk lah, so I not practice English too, and I feel like the way for me to improve that is by living with the locals. And the first day that I met them, I actually told them, okay, I wanna improve my English, so can you please just talk to me every day. So every day for 2 months, I have dinner with them, and sometimes I feel a bit struggling because there's a lot of slangs, there's a lot of accent. But to be honest, that really helped me to understand the lecture in the class as well. So it was a very good experience. And then I also joined a first event called UC Global Society. It's like a quiz night event. It was the first time that I encounter, like, basically to be in a group full of people from different countries. It was quite intimidating, but in that first event that I attended, I already have niyat in my head. I was like, okay, at least in my second or my third year of uni, I want to be the executive of this club, because that club basically gather all the international students at UC, and then they like organize events and so on. It looks so fun. That's why I already have that niyat in the first event that I attended. And then in 2018, I forced myself to join a club called 180 Degrees Consulting. It was a very uncomfortable club that I joined. Why I said uncomfortable? Because I have to work with local people, and then I have to basically work with them for the whole semester, helping a New Zealand business to basically organize an event for disabled kids. But then the mentor was people from PwC and Deloitte, so it was a very good networking. But it was very challenging. It was very intimidating. At the end of the semester, we have to do a presentation in front of the clients and then in front of the mentors and the other people. And I remember, I think at that time, there were only 2 Asians in that club, so I feel such a minority. But after that club, after I did the presentation and all, I realized that my confidence level is like, so I feel like it was really worth it, because after that club, I was like, I feel confident to join other clubs, and then I feel confident to join any kind of programs at UC. So that's why whenever a new students come to me and ask, oh, what kind of club that I should join, I always said either this 180 degrees or any club that the majority are local students, and don't go to that event or don't join that club with your friend. Because if you go with your friend, you're gonna stick with them and you're not gonna find new friends. But if you're alone, you have no choice. You have to talk to people. You're gonna be uncomfortable. You're not gonna like it, but that's how you learn. And then in 2019, I decided to become the event manager for Canterbury Malaysian Student Association. So I was the only Indonesian in that club. In fact, that club never had any non-Malaysian before. So I was the first non-Malaysian that joined. but I really enjoy it because I can speak Malay because of that. I work with 12 other Malaysian students throughout the year, and we organize few events. So it was really nice. And also, what I realized is if you're studying overseas and you just go to the class, it's not enough. You really have to be active, like join clubs, do internship, just join all the programs, all the competition. Because if you only go to the class, you only learn the theory part, but you can't really implement it in the real life. And also, I think studying overseas is all about networking, because at the end of the day, I think New Zealand is quite similar to Malaysia. If you have more network, if you have more cable, it's easier for you to get a job, something like that. So joining this kind of club could really help you to network. And then I also did a part-time job at Max. It's like a clothing store, a local clothing store. A lot of people ask me, how did you manage to have uni and then clubs and also part-time job? So in UC, in one semester, you only need to take 4 courses. So it's very different to, I know in Malaysia it's quite a lot. In Indonesia, we also take a lot of courses in one semester. I think it's around 6 or 8, which is, I don't even know how to do that. But in New Zealand, we only have 4 courses. And then the lecture, usually for one course, the lecture is around 2 to 4 hours per week. And then the rest of it is individual study. So you really learn a lot about time management. So what I did was, from Monday to Wednesday, I put all my classes in there, 3 days, make it a bit more intense. And then I study around Thursday. So Thursday I just focus on my assignments. And then Friday usually I have meetings with the clubs or like organize events and all. And then Saturday and Sunday I will work part-time. So in New Zealand, you can work up to 20 hours per week when you study. And then during the break, you can work up to 40 hours a week, which is full-time. But when I was a student, I only worked for like 10 hours, I think, per week. And it was already more than enough because the minimum wage in New Zealand is a lot. I think during my time, it was $20.75 per hour. So it's around 62 ringgit per hour. And then I work 10 hours per week. So it's already quite a lot. But right now, the minimum wage in New Zealand is 23.15 New Zealand dollars. So it's around 65, I think, or 66 ringgit per hour. So yeah, you can save a lot of money. And like I said, you don't really spend your money for shopping in Christchurch. So you can save. And then usually what I did during the semester break, I will go for a road trip. So I use the money for traveling, something like that. Maybe you can see like that's the city center. As you can see, even the city center, you can do kayaking. And then also on the left there, it's a place to go for tramping. It's only like 30 minutes by bus from the campus. So there's a lot of outdoor activities that you can do. I think Christchurch is like a heaven for people who love sports and also who love outdoor activities. Okay, and in 2020, I graduated from UC. Oh, like I mentioned in the beginning, do you remember the first day I attended event, I said, oh, I ada niat nak join UCGS ni. So in my last year, I joined UC Global Society. I got chosen to be the vice president for the UCGS club. So thank you. So I think during that time, it was really fun, but it was the most challenging year that I've ever had because I had to work with 13 students from 10 different countries. And as a vice president, my job was to make sure that, so president usually in charge for the sponsorship, and then vice president is usually make sure that the team are all good, basically. And then there's always conflict because obviously there are like 13 heads from 10 different countries. So lots of ideas, lots of opinions. But I guess that's where I learned a lot because after working for around 3.5 years now, I realized the job itself is not hard, but working with people is the challenge, because you're gonna deal with people from different personalities, especially if the people are from different countries or different background. We grew up from a different family, we grew up in a different environment, so everyone have their own thoughts, everyone they have own way to work, which is why I think this kind of experience, you can't get it from a class, you really need to experience it, which is why I always tell my students, when you come to UC and study, don't just go to the class, please, 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 just join any clubs. So at least by the time you finish your study, you already have this experience to bring when you're working. And in New Zealand itself, when I apply for a job, none of the employer asked me, what's your GPA? Or what's your grade? No one asked me that. The stuff that they asked me, first, what did you do outside of your study? Did you do any part-time job? Did you join any clubs? Did you do any volunteer? Because those kind of real experience matters more to them. And then they usually ask, oh, what's your hobby? Because they want to know your personality. So the most important thing for them is whether you fit in the team or not. Because the skills itself, they can train you. Let's say you have to work in an IT firm and then you don't have any IT background. Maybe it took them like a month or 2 months to train you. But working with the people, that one needs some experience beforehand. The picture here with the lavender, that's New Zealand during summertime. So another part that I love about New Zealand is every season there's always something that you look forward to. So usually during summer, it's time for students to go to the beach or go for picnic. There's a lot of things to do during summer. And then winter time, usually snowboarding or skiing or visiting Queenstown. And then during springtime, usually the whole campus, the trees turn pink because we have sakura trees as well in New Zealand. And then, yeah, it's very nice. And then during autumn, usually everything turns red. So all year, it's always pretty. So after I graduated, I joined the UC Business School international team. So basically at that time, because it was COVID time, my job was to taking care of international students who were studying online. So in my team, basically, as you can see, my boss is from Christchurch, and then my other colleagues are from China. And I actually learned a lot working with them because I'm the youngest in the team. So, and then everyone already have their master degree and then already have their PhD. So it's very nice to learn from people who have those kind of experience. And then in 2022, I got the opportunity to go for my first work trip to Malaysia, actually. So I went to Penang and then meet the Education New Zealand people there. So I guess from all the stuff that I did during my study, when I joined CMSA and all, like the Malaysian Student Association, UC Global Society and all of that, it really helped me with what I'm doing right now. I obviously the one that I learned in the class is also helped me, but I think the activities outside of the campus helped me more. That there's also a picture of me there in the snow. So that's how New Zealand looked like during June or July time. It's actually my favorite season, even though people said, oh, it's too cold, but I love the cold. So it's very nice. And then in 2023, I think this is kind of like my milestone year, alhamdulillah, because I got the opportunity to attend New Zealand International Education Conference. So I met a lot of people, like a lot of professors and also like other staff from universities around the world. And then I also got the opportunity to attend EAIE, so it's like an education conference in Europe. So that was a very challenging experience, but I really love it because I got the opportunity to went for a work trip to Europe for 3 weeks by myself. I learned a lot about myself as well because that was the first time I went for a solo trip. And yeah, so this year I'm still joining the team, still part of the team, and I really love what I'm doing right now. So why New Zealand and why UC? When people or like students come to me and ask, oh, I want to study overseas, but I don't know where, I always tell them 4 things. Try to think about, because I think these 4 things is very important. First is the high quality, the quality of the education, and then also the student support. Why student support? Because you're gonna go there as an international student. You want to make sure that you are supported there. It's gonna feel very different. The first 3 months is gonna be tough wherever you go. And then the third is lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle that you're looking for? And then fourth is the career pathway, whether it actually prepare you to for your career later or not, and then whether it give you the opportunity to network with the professionals there or not. So in terms of the quality of education, New Zealand as a country, I think we only have eight state universities in total, and then all the 8 universities are in the top 300. So I think in terms of quality of education, New Zealand is quite good, but not everyone knows this. I think because New Zealand is quite a small country, but I always think that New Zealand is a very, there's a lot of opportunity there because the population is not that many. And then especially if we compare the big cities like Auckland and Christchurch, in Auckland there are so many Asians. So I feel like if I apply for a job, I don't feel unique, if that makes sense. But if in Christchurch, because there are more Mak Saleh than the Asians, so I feel like I can, there's something different that I can bring to the table. And then sometimes students come to me and said, oh, susah lah Karina nak dapat kerja, kan kita bukan we're not Kiwi, we're not local people, and then English is not our first language, But I think that's actually the advantage for us, because first, we're different, and then second, we're coming all the way from other country to New Zealand, like from Malaysia or Indonesia or whatever to New Zealand. So we actually have more international experience than the local people, and then we can speak 2 languages. So I always twist it during the interview. Yes, English is not my first language, but I can speak another language. So it's actually a plus. It's not a disadvantage. So yeah, and then at UC Business School, we have Triple Crown we're Triple Crown accredited, meaning that we have ACSB, EQUIS, and EMBA. Some of you probably not very sure about what that means, but I would suggest if you're looking for a business school, try to find a business school that have this Triple Crown. The reason is because only 124 business schools in the world that have this, so only 1%. And it's quite hard to get these 3 accreditations. Only universities that have a good quality that can get this accreditation. So this is a quote from one of our students, Nadia. She's from Jakarta. Basically, she said, I love the discussion with the lecturers. I can freely ask about the topic, brainstorm, and talk about my ideas. Another thing that I found New Zealand is very different, at least from Indonesia. I don't know about Malaysia. But basically, we can freely ask anything to the lecturer. In fact, if we question the lecturer, they will love you even more. So they like challenge. They're like, bring the questions to me. So the class can be really fun, because if you're a very critical person, it's kind of fun to have that discussion with your lecturer. And then there's no power distance in New Zealand. So you don't have to call them by like Professor blah, 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 like Professor Russell or like Mr. Will or something. You can just call them by name. And then most of the lecturers will open their door if you have any questions, or if you can just knock on their door and ask questions. But I don't know about here in Indonesia, if we want to meet, let's say, the dean of the school, we need to have an appointment and go through like 3 staff to meet them. But in New Zealand, you can just knock on his door and then just have a casual chat. It's possible as well. So that's something that I like about New Zealand. There's no power distance, and they actually encourage you to be critical. And life in Christchurch and New Zealand. So, like I mentioned, Christchurch is ranked the most affordable English-speaking city in the QS Best Student Cities in 2024 list. So I think in terms of the living cost, we are quite affordable. And then the living costs also at least 17% lower than New Zealand's 2 other larger cities, which is Wellington or Auckland. And like I mentioned, if you looking for a university, try to think about the long term and then what kind of person you are. Let's say if you are a very city person, like, oh, I want to live like those gossip girls, like, you know, in New York, don't come to Christchurch. I'm just going to be honest, because obviously the stuff that you're going to do there is different to what you imagine. Because I have a friend from Indonesia. She didn't do any research. She was like, oh, I'm going to Christchurch. It's going to be like Melbourne, like Sydney. And then she came to Christchurch and she was like, what? Where's the tall buildings? Where's the malls? Da 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 da. So try to do your own research first and try to think about what you actually really want. Like I mentioned, I personally, because I came from Jakarta, I want to try something new, something different. And also, I always think about the long term. Because in my head, it's like, okay, if I go to a big city, like, let's say, Sydney, or like Auckland, yes, it's a big city, it's nice, there's a lot of things happening there. But what are the things that I can get there? Like, for example, is it just me, like, enjoying life, or can I learn something in there? And also, like, in terms of the job opportunities, like whether, because sometimes big cities, yes, the job opportunities is a lot, but the competition is also very high, which is why I feel like in big cities, I feel like I'm just one of the fishes in the big tank. But if I'm in Christchurch, I feel like I'm a big fish in a small tank, if that makes sense. This is Nathaniel. He's one of our graduate in Bachelor of Commerce in Management. He currently works at KPMG Christchurch as a business consultant. So he's from Singapore. So he has the same reason as me. He came to Christchurch because he wanna avoid all the hustle and bustle of the big city. And then I think in Singapore it's very fast paced. Meanwhile, in Christchurch it's a bit more laid back. So he really enjoyed Christchurch. And he said you have the city on one side and the mountains on the other side, so you can go somewhere full of people one day or take a hike and clear your mind the next. And this is one of our students from Bangkok, from Thailand, Narerat. Do you guys know that the native people in New Zealand is Maori? Have you heard? Yeah. So that's something that I think New Zealand is very unique as well. The Maori people is very, very, very nice. Why I'm exaggerating like this? Because it's true, they're very nice. I think the reason is because their culture and our culture is very similar. So it's like tamu adalah raja. Have you heard of that? So towards international people, they're very welcoming. And I think because in terms of physical, they kind of look like us. So it's, I don't know, it kind of feel like you know them for a while, even though you just meet them for the first time. And also, Maori have different values. They have their own term like manakitanga, whanaungatanga. So basically, whanaungatanga means family. So family is very important to them. And then hospitality, which is like serving the guests, is very important as well in their culture. And then nature is like their god. That's why I think New Zealand is a very clear and clean country, is because they think the nature is their god, something like that. So they're really taking care of the nature. Student support. I think it's gonna take too long if I list down all the student support that we offer, but basically, from the survey that we did last year, 94% of our students are satisfied with the support that we offer. Because I think student support for us is not only when you struggle, then we help. We not only doing that, but we want to make sure when you come to UC, you're not only studying, and you have something that you can bring to the table when you started working. And then we want to make sure that you at least have one experience before you graduate. It's either internship, either student club, either competition, or volunteer. But basically, we want to make sure by the throughout your journey at UC, you have a good experience. So we offer a lot of programs. One of them is Tuhono program, because we realized about 5 years ago, or even before COVID, we realized that it's really hard for international students and local students to blend in. Usually international students with international students, local with locals. So we have this program called Tuhono, means to connect. And Alhamdulillah, earlier this year, we had around 90 students, half local and half international, joining this program. So what we do is we put students in a group, and then there will be some discussion, and basically you need to meet 5 times throughout the semester, and we give like a topic, a Maori value topic for you to talk about. So in that program, you kind of need to share about your culture, a little bit about your family background, and vice versa. So the local students will do that as well. And what we realize is after this program, at least our international students have 1 or 2 local friends, which is what we really want, because that's something that always a struggle in every university, I think. So that's one of the things that we offer. We also offer, like for example, the first time that you got an offer letter from us, we will make sure that you are in a group chat, basically in the we connected with you on WhatsApp. So let's say you definitely want to come to UC, we will try to make sure that your accommodation are sorted, and then basically the enrollment are sorted, and then in terms of like study plan and everything are also sorted. And then by the time you come to UC, you at least know 1 or 2 of us, because usually we always fly to Malaysia once or twice a year to give pre-departure briefing. So then when you come to UC, you don't feel like you're alone, if that makes sense. We also offer other program like micro internship. So basically, in that micro internship, you will work with people from your own country plus New Zealand students. Maybe I'll just share this a little bit. So Jenny, she actually joined our micro internship program. She's from China. So she's working with a group of students from China and 2 from New Zealand, helping Kevin, her client, who want to expand his business to China. So it's like a 3 weeks of market research. It's quite an intense micro internship, but it's really helpful for your future career. And then by the end of the program, you basically need to do a presentation, and then the client will give you feedback, blah, 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 blah. And we also have a cash prize. So the top 3 teams will get, I think, around 250 New Zealand dollars per person. So it's quite nice for pocket money as well. And Jenny, by the end of the micro internship, she actually got hired at New Zealand Walnut. So even when she hasn't graduated yet, she already worked part-time with Kevin, which is why I always said, please just join any program, any volunteer, any competition. You never know. You never know whether the person, your mentor or like your sponsor can be your future employer. And this is one of our students. He actually just graduated last December, R1. He used to be a KPM student. And he said UC is incredibly welcoming towards international students, making it easy to feel at home. So another part that we do is we have this regular gathering. So every semester we gather all the international students and basically give like a free drinks, like free bubble tea, because we want you guys to mingle around and then to know everyone, because every semester we always have new students. Just try to make sure that everyone knows everyone. And like I mentioned, Christchurch is a very community-based city. So if you don't have that kind of community, you might feel a bit lonely. So that's why our team exists in the business school. In terms of future career, so UC is ranked in the top 100 for employment outcomes in the QS World University Rankings 2024. For example, like in, I think earlier this year, 9 of our students from Malaysia got a job at Big Four. Some got I think most of them got a job in Christchurch, but there are 2 students got a job in Wellington as well. So even though you study at in Christchurch, let's say, doesn't mean you can't get a job in other cities, because there's quite a few students, let's say they study in Auckland and then ended up working in Christchurch, or like study in Christchurch and then ended up working in Auckland. So try to choose a place that you think is suitable for you for studying. Another thing that I would like to mention, so in 1 year, like basically every year, we have 4 different career workshops to make sure that you actually connect at least with 1 or 2 professionals in New Zealand before you graduated. This is one of our students from India, Pranav. He said the practical experience you get from this course is what you need in the industry to build a successful career. I actually already have a job offer for after I graduate. So I think he graduated this July, but he already got a job offer at KPMG Wellington. Okay, so this is the majors that we offer. So in UC, we call the degree Bachelor of Commerce, and we offer 12 majors in total. And at UC, you can do double major or a major and a minor without requiring any extra costs or extra duration. Why? Because the total of the courses that you take, whether you double major or single major, is the same. So everyone needs to take a total of 360 UC points, which is around 24 courses for 3 years. Or if you're transferred from KPM, usually it's 24 courses for 2 years. And if you're doing double major, that means you probably have like 16 compulsory and then the rest is elective. If you're doing single major, usually like 8 courses are compulsory and the rest is elective. I always encourage students to just try to do double major. Let's say you're doing accounting and then, oh, I'm quite interested in finance or information system. Just try, just take it. If after 1 semester you don't like it, just drop it. Dia tak rugi. So, course yang you ambil tu in first semester yang related to finance, dia akan masuk ke dalam your elective course. Macam tu. That's why whether you're doing single or double, it's still the same. But the good thing about double major, once you graduated, you have 2 career pathways. So what I did was I had marketing and operation supply chain. When I apply for a job, I try some in marketing area and I try some in operation supply chain area, something like that. So for KPM students, usually you have 1 year at KPM and then you have 2 years at UC and graduated with UC degree. You can scan the QR code here to see the credits from different diploma. So we have diploma in accounting, diploma in business studies, diploma in entrepreneurship, if I'm not wrong, and then diploma in Islamic finance and banking. There is quite a lot lah, but yeah, you can scan the QR code and you can see the list of the credits and also the eligible majors for each diploma. I just realized there's KPTM students as well. We actually have credits from KPTM. Maybe I'll share to you guys later the link. And also to enter UC, basically you need to achieve passing grades in all of your courses at KPM, which I'm pretty sure you guys all good with this because you guys are high achievers. But for the IELTS, it's 6.0 with no individual score below 5.5. Okay. I think I mentioned this in the beginning. So basically, when you're a student under student visa, you can work up to 20 hours per week, or you can work full time, which is 40 hours per week during the semester break. So at UC, we have 4 different breaks. The longest one is summer break, which is 3 months. Usually it's from November to February. Some students go back home. I didn't. I always choose to stay in New Zealand and just work. And then I usually, the last 1 month of the break, I will travel around. So either I'll travel around the country or I travel overseas with the money that I collected from that full-time job. And also, I already mentioned as well, the minimum wage in New Zealand currently is 23.15 New Zealand dollars per hour, which is around 65.48 ringgit per jam. Can you imagine how much money that you can get if you're doing full-time? A lot, right? A lot of our students buy their own car after working full-time. And this is the post-study work right. So basically, any student who study at UC for, let's say, 2 years, then they will get a post-study work visa for 2 years. Or if you study for 1 year, then you get a post-study work visa for 1 year. And this work visa, you don't have to get a job first to get the visa. It's like an automatic thing. As long as you graduated from a New Zealand university, you will get this post-study work visa. So if you nak lepak-lepak je kat rumah, kat bilik pun okay je. Tapi sayang kan, might as well just use it. And for the Dean's Award, basically all students, Dean's Award is kind of like a scholarship, but it's like a mini scholarship. So all students enrolling in the Bachelor of Commerce for the first time with GPA 3.5 or above, which I'm pretty sure you guys are okay because you guys are 3.8 and above, then you will get 3,500 for the first year. And if you can maintain your grade in the first year, you can get another 3,500 in the third year, something like that. So it's around 10% discount lah from the tuition fee. Okay, so I guess that's wrap up my presentation. If you guys want to know more about student life at UC, I'll really encourage you to follow UCNZ.life on Instagram because that's run by our students. And also we have a WhatsApp contact there. If you want to ask about how to apply to UC or like how to do the student visa, you can ask my colleague Connie here in the red hijab in the front. She's from NAS Education, so if you have any questions about that, you can ask her. And if you have any questions about credits, feel free to ask me because usually I'm the one who assess your credit when you apply to UC. And I think the QR code here is about Christchurch, and the top there is the UC Business School webpage. I'm pretty sure there's KPTM credits there in the UC Business School webpage. But if you can't find it, just talk to me after and I will show you. Okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Miss Karina. Round of applause once again, ladies and gentlemen, to our dear Miss Karina for the wonderful explanation and description. And somehow, I'm pretty sure that everybody, especially students up there, are so excited to fly away to New Zealand, especially to University of Canterbury in Christchurch. Well, it is really an eye-opener to some of us, especially, because it's not often that we get to listen, to someone who has been there in New Zealand, getting a degree there, living there for like 7 years, is it in total, right? And I'm pretty sure that everyone here is like gonna really do well in your studies to make sure that you secure a position, especially in UC in New Zealand. Because for me, whenever I think of New Zealand, I always think of these three things. Huh? First, no other than New Zealand All Blacks, right? You guys know the national rugby team, right? I'm pretty sure the guys, especially yang main rugby ni kan, ada main rugby kat sini? Ada. Okay, whenever I think of New Zealand, I always think of the national rugby team, especially the legendary Jonah Lomu. You guys know Jonah Lomu? Kan, siapa yang main rugby mesti tahu. And of course, when I think of New Zealand, I always think of the beautiful scenery of The Hobbit. Not the movie The Hobbit, right? It was located, yeah, the film was shot in New Zealand a few years back. So I'm pretty sure that you guys gonna be loving the city, loving to study there, and so excited to step foot in New Zealand. Okay, before we open the questions to the members of the floor, and if we have questions from the members online, I do have a few things that I'm pretty sure that we need to, get some information from you. And maybe some of these questions are the ones like the students are having right now on your mind. Okay, my concern will be on the because we are concerned on the what call this the proficiency level of English language, as you said earlier, right? Because basically English is not our first language. For Malaysian students, I've never been abroad, never been to overseas. At first, I think this is like based on my experience as well, my colleagues, when I was studying overseas as well before, some of Malaysian students they had this kind of like insecurity feelings of using English language, because you do have to mingle around with the mat salis, with the local students and local New Zealand students, and also the international students. So most of the time you'll be using English language. That is the mandatory subject, okay, in any international universities. So would you mind sharing with us if there are like classes, for example, like remedial English classes, prepared for the students, if they feel that they wanna, enhance their English proficiency so that they might be more prepared whenever they go to classes. So do we have that kind of like maybe like surveys of like extra classes tutorials to cater the needs of English language among the students, especially the Malaysian students?
Sure. That's a very good question, actually. I forgot to tell a little story about that. So, usually in the first semester, we have this transition program. Basically, all international students, new international students, are compulsory to join the first four session. The first one is basically the English speaking class. It's not. It's more like English writing class, because we realized that most of the new international students a bit struggling to write essay, because obviously the essay that we write back at home and also in New Zealand is a bit different. So there's a workshop for that, and then there's also like a little assignment for you to do. Just we want to make sure that you actually can do well when you're doing the real assignment. And then we also have APA referencing class, because obviously the APA referencing, I don't know if it's the same in all English speaking country, but we basically teach that as well, and that's just for international. And then the third one, we have basically kind of like a communication class. I think that one added to the program, because you're kind of like forced to talk to the local students there. And then we have exam preparation, meaning that not sometimes the way you study in here in KPM might need to change when you go to UC. And the first semester would be the time that you try to learn again about yourself, because not gonna lie, like even my first semester, it was very challenging, because I need to learn like, okay, what kind of study method that I should use here. So usually in the first semester, it's kind of normal that your grade is not that great, but usually in the second semester you already know what kind of person you are. So those four things are the basically the transition program that we offer. And then there's also on top of that the university, basically in the central team, they offer the English language class. It's not really English language as in like speaking, writing, reading, and so on. It's more of like how to understand the course in a English language, kind of, especially if you're not a native speaker. So that one is offered, I think, once every 2 weeks, and it's optional. If you want to go, you can. If you don't want to go, it's fine as well. And it's not for credit, so it's totally volunteer. And I think what would be English class. Yeah. So I think that's the stuff that we offer.
Right, very well. My next question would be something to do with accommodation, right? Is it like mandatory, for international students to stay in campus, or is it like they are given like choices? Either you want to stay in the campus as residential students, or they can like rent houses outside of the campus.
So we have the option. So we have UC student accommodation. Usually we will ask, especially students coming from Mara, they always have a special treatment. So basically, we always ask in the beginning, do you guys want to stay in a student accommodation or not? And then we will list down the price. And if you guys want to stay there, then we will talk to the accommodation team and kind of hold some rooms for you guys. But let's say you want to rent elsewhere, which is off campus, it's possible as well. Usually I will share the options to you, like, okay, these are the link that you can go through, or like the seniors that you can contact if you want to, let's say, take over their house, something like that. But I personally always encourage students to stay in this on campus first. The reason is because if you rent a house, you need to think about the electricity bill and also Wi-Fi bill. And in student accommodation, you don't have to think about that. And usually the price is not that much difference. So once you live in a student accommodation for 1 semester, and then you already have this like group of friends that you're gonna rent a house with, then maybe in the second semester you can find your own house, and then you will understand more about how to basically manage the electricity bills or like Wi-Fi bills. Oh, another thing that I forgot to mention, why Christchurch, this is a bit off topic, but why Christchurch is the most affordable city compared to Wellington and Auckland. In Auckland and Wellington, you have water bills. So you need to pay for water as well in Auckland and Wellington. But in Christchurch, you don't. It's only electricity and also Wi-Fi.
Okay, what about the facilities in the what do you call this residential? Meaning, for the on-campus students, like, for example, are they allowed to cook or something? Do you have like that kind of facilities?
So there are two options. There's catered room and also not non-catered, meaning that if non-catered, you need to cook yourself. But if it's catered, then someone cook for you. But to be honest, just take the non-catered because the food is not that nice. It's not mama or nasi lemak. So I think it's better to just go for the non-catered. But the good thing about student accommodation, there's always events or activities going on every week. So they have this like student accommodation ambassador. Actually, one of our graduates, her name is Nurina. She's from KPM Beranang. She used to be the ambassador for UC accommodation. So basically, she got to organize different events for international students. So there are more opportunity for you to network with people there and also to even get a job in there.
Right. That brings me to another question. I think on the what we call this halal food. Is it easy to get access to halal food? Since you mentioned just now, right, students are given options. Either you want to cook for yourself, you want to cater for, right? Somebody will cook for you. So that will be one of the major concerns. I think not only from the students but from the parents as well. So you might want to describe a little bit on the access to halal food in Christchurch.
Sure. In terms of the food in the like if you do grocery shopping, like let's say you want to get a halal chicken meat. So we have two companies. It's called Brings and Tegel. So this is basically everywhere in the supermarket. So it's quite easy to find halal meat. But if you want to get like a red meat, like beef or lamb, usually we go to Halal Butcher. halal butcher is quite a lot as well in Christchurch, so it's easy to find. For restaurants, alhamdulillah, lately it's kinda sad that it happened after the incident. But if you heard about the 2019 Christchurch mosque shooting, since then a lot of local businesses consider halal food because the Muslim community after that incident suddenly really grow a lot in Christchurch. I can see more hijabis, not only from international students but also the local people. And then most of the restaurants, like even Korean restaurant, Japanese restaurant, they always serve halal option. So usually they have, some of them still serve pork, but for the halal part, so they separate the pan, they separate the tongs, and they separate the spoon and everything for the halal food because they know that the market is there. That's why they always consider halal food. And there are quite a few Malaysian restaurants as well, and I think about 2 Indonesian restaurants and a lot of Middle Eastern restaurants as well. So like nasi Arab, semua tu ada kat situ.
Well, it's good to hear that because I think most of Malaysians, we are what we call ardent foodies, aren't we? Kan, kita semua suka makan kan. Jadi kalau pergi ke mana saja negara di luar, perkara utama kita nak cari mestilah tempat makan yang best. So kat situ dah ada satu winning point. So if you guys go to Christchurch, no worries because your tummy will always be stuffed with delicious and what they call this scrumptious food. Talking about the incident that you mentioned just now, that brings me to another concern. I think this is again not only from the students but from the parents as well, in terms of security, in terms of safety to students, especially I think most of them have never been overseas, so that will be the concern of the parents. So how can you describe about maybe the safety in the campus, off the campus, for example? Can we just like walk like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. outside, without worrying of the things around us, those kind of things? I think it's one of the major concerns. So would you mind sharing with us?
Yeah, sure. In terms of the safety around the campus, I personally always live around the campus. I never live in UC student accommodation, but so UC is located in the middle of the suburb, so there's a lot of housing around the campus. So I personally feel safe in Christchurch, but obviously we always tell students if it's already past 12 a.m., just try not to be alone because sometimes you never know, right? Like takdir orang lain-lain. So just be safe. But in general, Christchurch or New Zealand is actually the second safest countries in the world. So in general, it's safe. But yeah, always precautious lah, basically.
Okay, right. We're approaching 4 p.m. as we said just now. We'll be opening the session to the students if you have any questions. And also if we have questions from the online audience, we might be reading them for the session. But before we open to the members of the floor, I would say this is like probably my last question to you, right? What would be your advice, to students, especially international students, on how to survive, because they have to compete not only with the local New Zealanders but with other international students. So as someone who is staying far, far away from mak ayah kan, beribu batu jauhnya daripada kampung halaman. Oh, belum apa lagi dah sedih ya. Nampak? That's a good expression, meaning you can feel it now, right? You can feel the vibes of going away, far away. Right, so what would be your advice, your humble advice to these potential students that if they go there, how can they survive? How can they, stand out from the rest? How can they maintain like good names, bringing proud to the country, to the parents and everything?
Yeah. I think I mentioned this a lot during the presentation, but basically first, try to always make yourself involved in different events and activities. So don't come just for the free food. So this is very common because every time we have like, free bubble tea, and then 90% will be all the Malaysians. But if it's like, we have this competition and we only have like 5% Malaysians. So like I mentioned, Christchurch is a very community-based city. So feeling lonely, feeling homesick is very common, which is why it's so important to make yourself involved in different kind of events, in different kind of groups, and then also the most important part, I think, to make yourself occupied. So whenever your mind is somewhere else and then you started feeling sad and everything, try to make yourself busy. Which is why if you join clubs, if you have part-time job, you don't even have time to think about that, because you will think about, oh yeah, I have work, oh yeah, I have this assignment, oh yeah, I have these clubs, and then you go back home, you're tired, and then you will sleep. So it's actually like I mentioned, the first 3 months would be challenging, but that first 3 months is actually the most crucial part, because you're gonna have your own community, your group of friends in that first 3 months. So just go out from your room. Don't just stay alone. I know some of you can be very shy, especially if you're an introverted person, but I think being overseas, it's actually your chance to be a different person. In fact, no one knows you there. You can be a new person in there. So yeah, I guess just go for it.
Yes, just go for it, right? So yes, I do agree with Karina. Whenever you have the opportunity to go overseas, ambil lah peluang sebab ini adalah satu, kita kata, once in a lifetime experience. You're not gonna get this experience ever again. So kalau dapat, teruskan dan jangan sedih-sedih. Sedih-sedih tu biasa, right? Maybe for the first 3 months. Satu lagi, sedih masa raya je. Masa raya, call mak sampai raya. Masa tu nangis lah. Lepas tu, bila dah keluar daripada rumah, pergi, get around with your friends lah. Pergi melawat, dan suasana kat sana sebenarnya, sedikit lah saya ceritakan pengalaman sedikit. Kalau dekat luar negara ni sebenarnya, memang betul kata Karina tadi, kita kena bina networking. You tak boleh introvert. You kena bergaul dengan rakan-rakan. Sama Malaysian students ataupun Southeast Asian students. Bina networking, bergaul, melawat. Nanti kalau hari raya, kita kadang-kadang rasa, aku ni dekat KL, dekat Malaysia ke dekat Christchurch? You akan dapat that feeling kalau kita sangat close dekat sana. So jangan bimbang, jangan sedih. Itu perkara biasa. Yang penting ilmu yang kita nak dapat di sana. Betul tak pelajar? So semua lepas ni dah excited tak nak pergi Christchurch ni? Nak pergi University of Canterbury, dah excited tak ni? Macam tak excited je. Tak apa, ada lagi beberapa semester ya. Yang penting kekalkan CGPA untuk MARA. Kalau biasanya kita tahu untuk program IESP, CGPA kena sekurang-kurangnya berapa? 3.90. So kalau yang 3.80 tu tak cukup lagi, kena push up a little bit. So make sure you earn 3.90 before you are eligible to go to not only to University of Canterbury, but to all other institutions around the world if you want to continue with your bachelor degree. Okay, so sekarang ni seperti yang kita janjikan, kita dah berceloteh banyak. Miss Karina dah cakap banyak, saya pun dah banyak bertanya. So kita nak dengar ni pelajar-pelajar yang sangat berpotensi yang ada depan kita ni, ada 100 lebih. Kita nak dengar. Sekiranya anda ada soalan, inilah masanya untuk anda datang ke depan, grab the microphone and ask questions. Right, so we would like to open to the members of the floor for questions, not only from the students but from the lecturers as well. So kita buka untuk sesi soal jawab, question and answer sessions. Any students, please come forward. The microphone is there. Okay, sila nyatakan nama, institusi mana dan juga program mana dan juga soalan anda ya.
Test. Assalamualaikum, Miss Karina. So basically, I have 2 questions.
Your name and your program and your institution.
Okay, my name is Muhammad Nufikri bin Muhammad from program of Diploma in Business IT, Business Information Technology, and from KPM Sri Iskandar. I would like to ask about one of my friend have already applied for the Canterbury University and he has got the offer, but suddenly he want to change the major. He want to make a double major. So my first question is, can he still apply for the double major? And then my second question is, how frequent the rugby matches is are held around the Christchurch, and what is the usually the typical price for the tickets of the rugby matches? Because I would love to watch the rugby matches myself. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Good question. Okay. For the first question, yes, you can. Your friend can change into double major, or even if you want to change a major, it's possible as well. Even let's say after one semester you guys study, let's say you take information systems, and then you're like, oh, actually information system is too hard. Let me move to accounting or finance. Then sorry, yeah. Then it's possible, but usually I will be the one who check first whether your friend have the prerequisite or not, have the credit or not, and then basically we can always work it out lah. So that's possible. Good question. And then the second, so have you heard of Crusaders? It's a rugby team from Christchurch. So Crusaders is actually working with UC. So usually there are some games that happening in Christchurch. If you part of the Crusaders clubs, because we have the student clubs for Crusaders, basically what you need to do is wear their jersey, I think, and then like bring all the, you know, those things. I don't know the name. I don't even know the English or the Bahasa Melayu or the Bahasa Indonesia. But that balloon, when you're like, like the supporter lah, basically. You have to be the supporter, then you can go for free. But you just need to be the supporter. And then you will sit in the front. But then what you need to do, whenever the camera goes to you, you need to be like, you need to be like that lah. So I actually joined that twice. It was really, really fun. And then, fun fact, I think, because you know how, I don't know about Malaysia, but in Indonesia, right, if we see celebrity in the mall or something, everyone was like, I want to take a picture with them. But in Christchurch, it's a bit different. Sometimes I have breakfast in one of the cafes, and then beside me is a rugby player. But no one really like, can I take a picture with you? No one really do that. But we just say hi. We just, as if we know them, and then they will say hi back. So Christchurch is quite small, so you can bump into rugby player. You can bump into the prime minister, maybe, we don't know. So yeah. But if you want to watch the what do you call that? The All Blacks, usually you need to pay. There's no like free ticket from UC. But there's a student deals. If I'm not mistaken, it's around 65 New Zealand dollars, which is darat tiga. My mathematics is bad, but you can count it yourself. Yeah, around that much.
It's great to hear that we do have like rugby fans here. For the ladies, don't worry. Like Miss Karina said, kalau tak main rugby tu kita sorak-sorak pun kira dah okay lah kan. Okay, at least we enjoy the games. Yeah, we enjoy the vibes. Okay, kita juga mengalukan soalan daripada penonton yang melihat kita secara live. Kalau sekiranya ada soalan, sila typekan soalan anda di ruangan komen dan kita akan bacakan. So far tiada soalan lagi ya daripada online. Tak apa, kita buka lagi soalan kepada para penonton di dalam Dewan Kuliah. Okay, we have another one.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
First, I would like to welcome Miss Karina for coming here and giving us the talk. I have 3 questions. First of all, what is the minimum and the maximum time that we can get from the credit card? And second, regarding the halal thing, does UC provide halal meal in their cafe? And thirdly, does UC provide like allowance for the accommodation? Thank you so much. That's it.
Can I ask what was the first question again?
The first question was, what is the minimum and the maximum amount of time that we can get from the credit transfer?
Credit transfer. You mean like what is the minimum points and the maximum points?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries, thank you. Okay, good question. So for the first question, the minimum credit transfer that you can get is 60 points, which is equal to 1 semester at UC. So 1 semester is 4 courses. and the maximum is 120 points, which is 1 year. It's equal to 8 courses, something like that. So it's either, let's say you get 60 points credit, that means you will study at UC for 2.5 years. If you get 120 points at UC, that means you will study 2 years at UC. Does it make sense? Yeah. And then the second is halal food. Oh, in cafe. On campus. Yeah. So we have 3 options. I think in total we have 6 cafes, but 3 of them are halal. So first, it's called Mixed Cafe. It's actually in the business buildings. They sell Asian food like Vietnamese, Chinese, Malaysian food, something like that. And then second, it's called Ancestral. That one is Malaysian Chinese fusion food. So they sell nasi rendang, and then mie goreng, nasi goreng, semua tu itu juga halal. And then third is sushi. Sushi dia juga halal. So in terms of halal food option on campus is quite a lot, but the most popular one amongst our Muslim students is Mixed Cafe and also Ancestral, because dia sedap lah. And then third question.
Allowance.
Oh, allowance. We don't offer that, unfortunately. So usually, if I'm not mistaken, if you're under Mara, I think you got allowance for the living cost as well, right? Yeah. So usually, our Mara students just use that allowance lah.
Okay, thank you. Do we have next question? Boleh tak kalau kita nak wakil pelajar daripada KPTM Ipoh? Kita dah dengar soalan pelajar daripada KPMC Iskandar. So kita nak dengar pula soalan wakil daripada KPTM Ipoh.
Just for your information, for KPTM, we have credits from Diploma in Business Studies and Diploma in Accounting.
Adakah wakil daripada KPTM Ipoh? Mungkin daripada pelajar ataupun mungkin daripada pensyarah pengiring ke jika ada soalan? Come on guys, this is a good opportunity for you to ask since Miss Karina is here in front of you. You boleh dapat terus maklumat secara langsung. Okay, give it up. Right.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Hello, my name is Adam Aiman. I'm from KPTM Ipoh. Okay, my question for you is, like in Malaysia we have Mara, but since you're from Indonesia, what was it like from you like finishing your SMR to UC? Thank you.
Oh, thank you. You mean like the transition or the financial part? Financial part. Oh, unfortunately in Indonesia, our government is not that generous. So we don't have that option, but there is one called LPDP, I think, in Indonesia, but usually it's for postgrad, so for master or PhD. So I was a private student, so I was self-funded. Basically, my parents helped me to fund my studies. Thank
you for the question. So nampak tak beruntungnya kita berpayung di bumi Malaysia ya, sebab kerajaan kita ya, especially MARA, JPA and other kita panggil sponsors ya, sudi untuk menaja kita. So lepas ni ya, kalau kata ada kawan-kawan, adik-adik, saudara mara ataupun jiran anda, kalau kita rasa nak berpeluang mengambil peluang untuk belajar ke peringkat yang tinggi ya, disponsor oleh MARA, especially datanglah ke IPMA ya, datanglah ke College Professional MARA, datanglah ke College Politek MARA, datanglah ke IPMA, sebab kami di MARA menerima anda dengan tangan terbuka. So inilah peluang anda yang jarang-jarang kita dapat di institusi lain. So jadilah pelajar MARA, jadilah anak MARA, insya-Allah kami akan jaga anda dari hari pertama anda datang ke IPMA sampailah hari terakhir anda meninggalkan IPMA. Ini kita promote sekali ya, sebab apa? Lepas ni insya-Allah dalam bulan 5 atau bulan 6 ya, pelajar-pelajar SPM tahun lepas akan mengambil keputusan. Jadi kita biasa akan buat program bersama dengan sekolah ya, so kita akan mempromosikan MARA dan sambil-sambil tu kita akan mempromosikan ya universities yang memang kita kata ada good connections dengan MARA, especially University of Canterbury. Okay, ada lagi soalan daripada para pelajar?
Hi, my name is Patricia binti Muhammad Nazri. I'm a student here at KPMSI. I'm currently taking diploma in international business, and I have a question regarding the transportation mode there. So, since we're international students, obviously we won't be bringing any sort of like transportation as like for cars or motorcycles or anything of the sort. So, I want to know how is it like a walkable city here there in Christchurch, or how would the students be traveling to campus if they were to reside outside of the campus area, basically? So yeah, that's my question.
Thank you. Very good question. So the common public transport that we have is bus, and if you're a student, so basically every UC student get a different bus card because it's a student fare. So if I'm not mistaken, it's like $1 for 2 rides. $1 is 3 ringgit kan? Ya, 3 ringgit untuk 2 rides. As long as that 2 rides you pakai within 1 hour, if I'm not mistaken, or 2 hours. So another common transportation is bicycle, because I myself bike to work because it's nice to bike because it's a very easy. Christchurch basically have a easy access for bikers, and also it's very walkable. So let's say if student live off campus, usually they always go for basically a rental house. The maximum is 20 minutes walk. So if student ask me, oh, I have a house, Karina, in this, and then the area is, let's say, Wigram is quite far. I always tell them, no, don't stay there, because I know during winter they're not gonna go to the class. They're just gonna be like stuck in their bed and then too lazy to go to the campus because it's a bit too far. So 20 minutes walk in New Zealand is not like here in Malaysia. So it's actually very nice. In fact, if we take a break during Ramadan, kan orang lunch break kan, kita kan tak bisa makan tuh lunch. So I jalan-jalan lah around campus. Usually like I jalan-jalan for 30 minutes, something like that. So it's a very walkable city. And yeah, basically bike or bus or walking. And for bicycle, it's quite common in New Zealand to buy secondhand stuff, not only for bike but also for cars, or even sometimes clothes they buy secondhand as well. So bicycle, it's not that expensive in New Zealand. You can get, I think one of my friends get a bicycle for $30, which is like 90 ringgit, and it's still quite a good quality. As long as it can get them everywhere, it's already enough lah, something like that.
Okay, talking about winter, is it snowing in Christchurch anyway? We get to experience snow in Christchurch?
Usually, it depends on that year. I think last year we experienced snow twice, but the snow only lasted for like 2 or 3 days, because as soon as the sun comes out, the snow melts. So it doesn't stay long. But usually in the morning during winter time, it's always frost. Like we have a lot of frost on the grass or like on the road, something like that. But heavy snow, it's quite rare. But if you drive from Christchurch to, let's say, we call it Castle Hill, that's where Narnia was filmed. It's only 1 hour away drive. No, not even 1 hour. It's like 48 minutes or something, 50 minutes. It's very heavy snow. So I think if I'm not mistaken, in 2019, I have a group of friends from Malaysia. During the first Raya, they all drove to Castle Hill just to take photos with the Malaysian flag there. So yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. I think students will get to experience that. So kalau nak merasa snow yang tak pernah rasa snow, snow betul ya, bukan snow macam dekat ICT tu tau. Snow betul-betul ni. So bolehlah ya datang ke Christchurch, ada tempat yang kita boleh dah experience sendiri macam mana rasa the real snow, the real snowfall. Right, do we have any other questions? Any more questions?
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Nazrin. I am from KPTM Ipoh, majoring in TESOL. And well, after looking through, it seems like the college UC offers a lot of business related courses. And would there be any recommendations for TESOL students like me, like to further our studies there?
Sorry, what was the name of your?
Sorry?
Teaching English as a second language. Yeah, TESOL.
Okay.
Yeah, apart from TESOL, we actually have diploma in English communication in KPM Sri Iskandar. So maybe the concern of these students, because most of the time you were talking about business school, business programs. So do we have like programs for these language and communication students plus teaching English as second language students?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
That's my first question.
Okay.
My second question is, does the campus itself have like facilities for Muslims, for prayer rooms or something like that?
That's a good
That's it
question.
from
Thank
me.
you. So for the first question, yes, we call it TESOL, is it? TESOL, yeah. So basically, there's language majors as well. You see, it's under Bachelor of Arts. The reason why I didn't mention that because I'm from the business school international team, but overall, the campus we have 7 faculties in total. So there's faculty of engineering, science, arts, education, commerce, which is business, and then product design, and then the new one is cinema. I forgot. It's something related to cinema and film. It's quite new. But I forgot the name. Sorry. So there is an option for that, and just for a little information, in UC we have around 22,000 students in total. And usually we have around 700 to 800 international students in total for the whole university. And the second question, yes, we have surau. Ada 2 surau. Yang pertama tuh yang besar biasanya laki-laki semua sholat Jumatnya di situ. Tapi ada juga surau kecil sedikit dia di dalam library. Usually students just go there if they're studying in the library. And then also the third one is in our international lounge. So basically beside our office, we have this international lounge for international students to study or untuk take a nap or even to pray as well. So we put macam telekung semua tu kita letak kat situ. So yeah, ada 3 tempat solat di UC.
Okay, thank you. That's a good question, by the way, because apart from business programs that we have in most of Mara institutions, we do have like arts program, for example, diploma in TESOL in KPTM Ipoh, and we also have diploma in English communication in KPM Sri Iskandar and also KPM Indra Mahkota in Kuantan, Pahang. So that might be the concern of these students, yeah. But anyhow, for the students, kita kena semak juga ya untuk kelayakan. Contohnya kalau program IESP, betul kan kalau Tuan Pengarah kalau saya salah untuk program IESP sebenarnya ada ditawarkan program bachelor degree, Bachelor of Arts, tapi lebih kepada communication. So mungkin kena semak balik sebab kalau kita nak go for transfer credit, contohnya kita kena tengok subjek yang kita dah ambil ni sama ada boleh tak, berapa banyak subjek yang kita boleh buat for credit transfer, sebab lagi banyak transfer credit kita boleh buat, lagi singkatlah masa pengajian kita dan lebih banyak kos dapat dijimatkan. Yang penting peluang tu ada. So jangan bimbang ya, for TESOL and Diploma English Communication students, peluang tetap ada ya. Mungkin kena semak balik ya dengan pihak penganjur, dengan Mara dan juga dengan Miss Karina sendiri tentang the major that you could go for kalau sekiranya anda berminat nak ke UC. Okay, but anyhow I guess that okay lah ya untuk diisi students juga diploma in TESOL from KPTM, at least anda tidak ditinggalkan. Peluang tetap ada. Don't worry, okay? Don't worry. Alright. Do we have any other question? Or maybe we could allow for one more question from the audience sebab masa pun dah tak begitu banyak. So mungkin, oh yeah. Do we have questions? Okay, yeah. From Miss Harani, right? Is it? Okay, Miss Harani sendiri. I think you can use the mic, otherwise it won't be heard in the recording. You have to use the microphone.
Hello, hi Karina. I'm Connie from Nice Education. So I believe I would like to ask on behalf of both colleges. So I believe all the diploma was conducted in English as medium instruction, right? So I can see the entry requirement for the University of Canterbury, which is IELTS. So can the students using their the letter from the college written that the diploma was conducted in English instead of IELTS?
Good question. I think we have this question before. From my understanding, I don't know if this is finalized or not, but I think the admission team will still need students to have either IELTS or I think it's called SPM 1119. I don't know if it's still not anymore. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think there's a new one, right? Yeah, but we so far we only have IELTS, TOEFL, and then SPM 1119, and then I think the other one is PTE. So that one I think, but sometimes it can be a case by case basis. But yeah, if something changes, we will definitely update that on our website so students will know about that.
Guess that wraps up our session this evening. Sebelum kita nak menutup majlis kita secara rasmi, saya nak mengingatkan kepada para pelajar daripada KPTM Ipoh dan juga KPMC Iskandar sendiri untuk anda mengimbas QR code yang kita dah tampalkan di sekeliling Dewan Kuliah ni. Ini untuk kita nak isukan e-cert ya, untuk e-cert. So kalau anda perlukan sijil untuk program petang ni dalam bentuk e-cert, so sila scan QR code yang kita dah tampalkan dan insya-Allah nanti bila cert dah siap, kita akan emailkan macam semua. Jangan lupa ya untuk scan the QR code. Okay, so dengan itu ya ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our session this evening. So apa yang boleh saya simpulkan di sini ya, peluang belajar ni bukan datang banyak kali dalam hidup. Ya, kalau peluang ini hadir sebagai pelajar, ambillah peluang ini sebaik mungkin. Especially kalau ada yang macam concern boleh ke tak boleh, boleh insyaAllah. So sekarang ni Karina sendiri adalah contoh ya, contoh pelajar daripada Asia Tenggara yang berjaya successfully ya, you graduated successfully with a bachelor degree di University of Canterbury. So kalau Karina boleh, kenapa anda semua tidak boleh? So betul, terima kasih. Ini semangat yang kita nak kan. Jangan putus asa, masa masih ada. Pastikan kalau anda dah enroll dalam program IESP MARA, the main requirement, the major requirement is for you to get at least 3.90 for your CGPA. So pastikan kalau 3.8889 boleh push up sikit. Pastikan di akhir pengajian kita dapat 3.90. So saya berterima kasih sekali lagi kepada Karina kerana sudi bersama kami pada petang ini dan terima kasih juga kepada para pelajar khususnya daripada KPMC Iskandar, tuan rumah dan all the way from Ipoh, KPTM Ipoh. Terima kasih kerana sudi hadir. Terima kasih kepada para pensyarah masing-masing. Terima kasih kepada tetamu kita, Tuan Pengarah, Tuan Timbalan Pengarah, ketua-ketua jabatan yang sudi hadir bersama kami, para AJK yang bertungku lumus ya, yang berada di belakang tabir ni yang menyediakan majlis kita pada petang ini. Dan mudah-mudahan apa yang baik itu kita dapat jadikan teladan, kita dapat jadikan kita kata buah tangan ya untuk kita bersedia untuk menggalas cabaran masa depan dan insya-Allah peluang tetap ada. Yang penting kena rajin usaha dan jangan malu, teruskan apa yang anda impikan, jadikan sebagai satu cabaran untuk anda berjaya di masa depan. Okay, so ini bukan pengakhiran untuk majlis kita. Akan ada lebih banyak lagi program yang berbentuk begini yang kita akan tekan dari semasa ke semasa. Dan suka saya nak menyatakan ya, pada 30 hari bulan Mei nanti insya-Allah kita akan ada pameran pendidikan ya. Kita akan ada pameran pendidikan yang berbentuk kita panggil overseas program, information for overseas program yang dibawakan khas ya daripada NAS Education. Puan Haring ada di sini. So mark your calendar students, on the 30th of May kita jemput sekali terus ya pelajar daripada KPTM Ipoh untuk datang semula ke KPMC Iskandar pada 30 Mei waktu petang. Kita akan umumkan ya di social media platform kita yang ada. Ya, kita akan ada lagi besar punya event, massive event yang bukan hanya dihadiri oleh pihak daripada UC sendiri, tapi kita juga ada bawa wakil daripada other universities daripada New Zealand, daripada Australia, daripada UK. So save your date, mark your calendar. Nampak Puan Hari dah excited sangat tu sebab beliau akan jadi token besar pada hari tersebut. So bagi tahu kawan-kawan anda mana yang tak dapat hadir hari ini, jangan bimbang, datang nanti pada 30 hari bulan Mei untuk kita sama-sama berjumpa dengan wakil atau representatives from those institutions. Then, are you going to be there, Karina, on the 30th of May?
No, I'm already back to New Zealand.
Already back to New Zealand. Perhaps
but my colleague will be there.
Okay, her colleagues will be there. So akan ada lagi wakil daripada University of Canterbury. Okay, right. Sebelum kita menutup majlis, bagi pihak penganjur KPMC Iskandar, kami ada menyediakan sedikitlah buah tangan. Cenderahati lah, cenderahati kenang-kenangan, token appreciation. So saya nak menjemput Tuan Pengarah Encik Ismail Fahmi bin Ismail untuk menyampaikan cenderahati kenang-kenangan kepada tetamu kita, Miss Siti Karina, who came all the way from New Zealand. Okey, terima kasih diucapkan kepada Tuan Pengarah dan juga Miss Karina. Okey, sebelum kita bersurai, boleh tak kalau kita bergambar bersama, group photo session kan? Oh, ada lagi. Oh, tak perasan. Okey, belum habis lagi. Ini daripada University of Canterbury kepada pihak college sendiri. Thank you very much. Okey. So, seperti yang saya cakap tadi, boleh tak sebelum kita bersurai, kita bersama-sama hadir ke hadapan untuk kita bergambar bersama ya, group photo session. Boleh ya? Okey, berdiri di atas ya. Okey, saya mendapat cue daripada AJK kita. Kira berdiri membelakangi tangga, betul? Menghadap sini. Okey, menghadap sini ya. So boleh ya, pelajar di atas sana boleh turun ke bawah, AJK yang di atas sana. Turun ke bawah dan kita penuhkan ruangan di sini dan fotografer akan ambil daripada angle di sini ya.